now with the Rockies and Kirk Casale, by the way, Steve. You see how well he's playing for the Reds?
I did not. What's fill me in?
Well, he came up last Friday. He played Saturday, hit a home run.
Mm-hmm.
He got 2 hits. Pinch hit one day this week and doubled. Started today, doubled again. Led off the 9th down by a run. Walked off Wade Davis and ended up scoring the tying run.
Very good.
So Casale, who got traded for cash and a bag of balls, Tampa to the Reds about 2 weeks ago.
He's reviving his career in Cincinnati.
And he's in a perfect situation. Easy ballpark, not exactly a big time team. Maybe they can find a little lightning in a bottle. The Reds are thinking that's a perfect situation for him.
Good for him. Good.
Yeah, very good.
Glad to hear that.
And did Henry Davis, your little buddy, get drafted?
No. So there's a couple of different factors. This is the catcher
from Fox.
A couple of different factors. I don't know all the details. It sounded like he was in that 3 to 7 round range based on stuff that I was hearing. And so the other thing was, he was committed to Louisville. The coach there was talking to Mississippi State about taking their job. So there was some uncertainty, whether he would leave. He ultimately stayed, but that sort of kind of threw things from a loop from what I was understanding, because if he had ever left, who knows, a new coaching staff comes in, it makes for a weird situation. So, he could have been essentially like a college free agent, if that was the case. And then, who knows, then you're a walk-on, you're not getting money because it's too late. You know what I'm saying? So that was a weird wrench that was thrown into the situation. I don't know. I know that there were several teams that reached out, like pretty high rounds from what I'm hearing ahead of time, and I don't know if it came to a situation where they couldn't agree, or if they felt he was committed too much to college. But he's going. From what I heard, he's going to go to school. So
all right, and the kid from Oregon State was not drafted.
That's correct. The 2 days. Yep.
All right, good job, Steve. Talk to you a little later on this busy afternoon. Let me do a couple quickies here, both on football. It's weird. I'll do Edelman first. First off, if anybody doesn't think that Edelman, who is an overachiever, who has had a couple of bad injuries, he broke his foot. We all know that, and obviously we know what happened last year with the ACL. I think it was the ACL. Nobody, and I believe that he failed the test. So I don't think there's any. I'm going to go with that aspect of it. I know he's going to fight it on appeal and all that. That to me is, I don't think he's going to win. They never do win unless it's a technicality. Ryan Braun, they never win. So to me, it is pretty, self-explanatory kind of what happened here. Guy's been injured a lot. He's an overachiever. He's a very hard worker, and he's looking to get himself back on the field as quickly as he can, because that's what football players do. So are we shocked that steroids may have contributed to him getting back on the field as quickly as we can? Not that he got back on the field that quickly with the whole scenario this year, because he missed the whole season. But maybe he felt that it would give him a little bit of a competitive advantage in the, for training camp. Now, I don't know if he did this in baseball, a guy like Edelman, who is he's a hard worker, an overachiever, a big player, he would be marred for life. He'd be able to play, but nobody would look at him quite the same again. Obviously, in the NFL, it's completely different. People don't care so much from that standpoint. From that standpoint, I don't think, it's that big a deal. I don't think people are going to sit there and think that he's done something here that is the worst thing in the world. I don't think people are going to care. I think people will forget about it. He's probably not going to the Hall of Fame anyway, regardless of steroids or not. All I would say is, if this was baseball, he'd have a scarlet letter on him. A guy that maybe got to his particular station on this team or in this sport illegally, artificially. People don't seem to care about the NFL. He is a hell of a player. He is a tremendous, overachiever. Now, again, he might win this on appeal. I don't buy it. If he does, it will be on a technicality. And I will. I mean, in my own eyes, it's it hurts him a little bit. It hurts him. It hurts him historically in a little bit. And it hurts him historically. So from that standpoint, it does. It's a negative for him. We'll see how this plays itself out. It would be 4 games. I forget who they play the first 4 games. I think it's Jacksonville, Houston, Detroit, and maybe somebody else. I'm not sure who the 4th game is. So he wouldn't play 4 games. and we shall see. All right, that's item number one. Item number two, Terrell Owens is an idiot. All right. I don't know what his point is. I mean, I know he wants to be different and everything else. Here's a guy that, by a lot of people who wanted to support him, and that includes me, went out of our way, and because he is a Hall of Famer. I don't care about his track record, his personality, his fact he's a cancer. I don't care about that at all. Because when I watched him in big games, he was great, including the Super Bowl with a broken foot. He was great with McNabb there against New England. So he is a Hall of Famer in my eyes. Whether he's the biggest rotten louse in the world, he's a Hall of Famer. But you can't be dumber than him. All right. Part of the Hall of Fame deal is ceremonial. That's part of it. Part of the deal is to give the NFL that weekend, put the gold coat on. It sort of kicks off the start of the NFL season. I mean, that's part of the deal. And for him to disrespect all those players who built Canton, saying, I got other places I want to celebrate, is a bunch of nonsense. I mean, that is somebody's got to give his agents, somebody's got to say, you know what, Terrell, I don't care what the reason is, you got to show up. When they are putting you in, even Bob Dylan wrote a nice letter to the Nobel Peace Prize people, because I think he was on tour when he won a Nobel Peace Prize. And he wrote him he couldn't show up, at least he wrote him a letter. That's Dylan. And that's in Europe. I mean, Terrell Owens now is going to play basically hard to get last weekend in July. That's pretty weak. 17 in front of the hour. We continue. Mad Dog Unleashed.